So the first and foremost requirement for a currency is that you have to pay currency to someone. So digitally, if you have a digital currency and you have no identities, you cannot pay anyone. So if you have some coins, you will obviously make a transaction to a particular merchant or particular another person. So essentially, the idea of complete anonymity cannot be achieved, but we can go close to complete anonymity with an idea called digital identities. So what should be the properties of those digital identities? First of all, they should be disconnected from real world identities. If I am if I want to make my transactions anonymous, what I can do is I can make transactions from a particular identity, but I can still make them disconnected from my real world identity, so that there is some so that people cannot track me entirely. Obviously, if somebody is following me closely and keeps track of all my transaction history and my habits, he can make an inference that, oh, yeah, this person is Samagra, this person is this, etc. But still, if we can keep them disconnected from the real world identities, it is close to anonymity. The next is that if you are making a transaction, only you can push content or currency from your identity. So your identity must be such that that somebody else cannot forge it. Forge it. That is, somebody cannot publish content on behalf of you. Somebody else cannot say this. Yeah, Samagra has published this. So because then that identity won't be of any use. The third property that we require in a digital currency is the fact that people can verify your content. So people should be able to tell that if Samagra is saying that he has published this article, how can I know that he's saying the truth or he is actually Samagra? So there should be some way of establishing that verification. And the fourth obvious point is that people can't clone your identities. Obviously, even if they have a method of verification, they should not be able to copy your identity or publish on behalf of you. So those are the guiding principles behind any identity system. So we are going to design an identification system based on these principles. So digital signatures is a very old cryptographic technique which people have been using in some other contexts, but Bitcoin adopted it in a way of identification. So what happens in digital signatures is that every person uh, generates a pair of keys. So there is a fixed key size, say 128 bits or 256 bits, and people generate pairs of keys. So one of them is called a secret key, and the another one is called a public key. So say the left person is Bob and obviously the right one is Alice. So what will happen when Bob generates the keys? He will keep the secret key with himself and he will publish his public key so that anyone can access this public key. Now, how digital signatures work is that Bob, if Bob wants to send a message, he can sign the message with the public key and message itself. So we can argue that why do we require message to sign the public key, to establish identification? This is because if we don't use the message which we are trying to communicate, then anyone can copy our established identity or since there is no message attached to the digital signature, anyone can copy the digital signature and can use in some other document. So our digital identity must be linked to the content which we are publishing. That's why we are using both the message and the private key. Okay, so there's a mistake in this slide. This PK should be SK. So we sign the message using our secret key. I confused the secret key with private key, but so we sign a message using the secret key which we have with ourselves. So here on the middle arrow it should be message comma secret key, S key. So once I sign with my secret key, I send the signed version of the message to Alice, and then there is a verification algorithm. Alice can use the public key which was available to everyone to verify whether I am actually the person who has sent me the message. Obviously, she requires the public key, the signature, and the message in order to verify. So how have we satisfied all our 4 requirements from this mechanism? So the first requirement was that our real world identity should be disconnected from the digital identities. So we can generate as many secret key and private key pairs as we want. There is no restriction to the fact that how many private keys, public keys, secret keys can we have, and every public key is an identity in itself. So we are actually not saying that Bob published a particular document. We are saying that this particular document was published by this public key. We are assigning documents to public keys and we are not assigning documents to individual persons. The second requirement was that only you can publish content from your identity. So as we have incorporated in our signature scheme that we require content along with the secret key in order to sign the document. So only I have the secret key, so only I can publish a particular content. The third requirement was that people can verify your content. Obviously, people can verify your content with the private key. And for this, people can't clone your identities. So how will someone go about cloning my identities? So people can publish content on my behalf only if they have the secret key. And this signature function has a mathematical property that it is really hard to find the secret key. So as I said, there has to be a particular property called unforgeability, which says that given a series of message signature pairs, it is computationally infeasible to generate a new message signature pair. What it means is that even if someone is collecting all our messages and collecting all our signatures, the algorithm should be such that that people cannot generate a new message with a valid signature. Now the details of this algorithm is beyond the scope of this lecture because there's a lot of complicated mathematics involved. Even the designer of cryptocurrencies had nothing to do with all these signature schemes. These have been going on for many years in the cryptographic community, and what people in the cryptocurrency world did is that they just adopted all those signature schemes. Okay, so this is how we have established a particular identity for each individual involved in our transaction.